Hello my friends. Guys, I lost my voice. I spent the last week in damn near silence. And as you can imagine, for a big mouth like me, it's been rather difficult. But worry not, I'm back. And I've got quite a bit of catching up to do. So what I'm going to do is try as much as I can to cover what's been happening in the last couple of weeks. So today we're going to talk about my old favourites, Rob and Sophie. Yes, that's right, they're still struggling along. And they're still planning on getting married. And if anyone thinks that this is the right thing to do, they can come and speak to me after school. And so we begin with this couple where we left off last week. Oh guys, sorry I forgot to say, please don't forget to like and subscribe, all of that good stuff. Smash that big red button and make Ebird a happy Ebird. And so yes, without further ado, I give you Rob and Sophie. And so last week we had the fallout from Sophie divulging that she's bisexual. And guys, unsurprisingly, one of Rob's first questions was, why didn't you tell me before? And of course she replies that she didn't really know before, she was unsure. And guys, I believe her. This to me is completely unsurprising because Sophie, thus far, has done a fantastic job of ignoring all the signs the universe has sent her regarding Rob. It would seem to me that Sophie runs through life with blinkers on. So yeah, I can see this being the case. In fact, it's a massive benefit to Rob that Sophie's unsure of her own thoughts and feelings, because he's much more likely to have a hope in hell's chance of keeping hold of her. But then for once, Rob did actually make a very good point.
She only got one life to live, right? And if she's interested in women, but she's never hooked up with women, is she just going to be sitting there really, really wishing she knew what it was like? And is that going to turn into some resentment towards me because she decided to be with me? It's just it's hard to understand what exactly Sophie's really trying to tell me.
And then Rob said, well, it sounds like in 5 to 10 years you're just going to pop up and you're going to want to fuck a woman. And although Sophie denied it, guys, I kind of think that might be what she's hinting at. It's certainly what she hinted at to us via production earlier in the season. But after a lot of berating by Rob, Sophie finally said, okay, if in 10 years' time I do want to sleep with a woman, I would let you know. And Rob blew his lid. And he said what I've been waiting for him to say for the last, 5 to 7 minutes. If you fuck a woman, then I'm going to be there fucking her too. You don't get to fuck a woman on your own. There we go, guys. I knew he wouldn't let me down. The worst thing is, my laugh is completely gone. Guys, it's been an awful 6 days. It really has. I tell you what, Mr. Ebird's absolutely loving life. He really has had the most peaceful week he's had for, well, years and years. But anyway, Sophie pointed out to Rob, that would just be you fucking another woman. I'm working out my sexuality. You're just sleeping with somebody else. In my life, that would never happen. I would never allow it. Sophie, my love, if you working out your sexuality is also fucking another woman, then where's the difference? Actually, where is the difference? And so finally Rob said, well, thank you for telling me. And the couple smoothed things over before they went off to buy rings. Yes, you did hear that right. They went off to buy rings after this relation-changing information. I really don't get this relationship, I really don't. So next time we see the couple, they're in the ring shop. And Rob's still very clearly in a bad mood after hearing that Sophie's bi. And that doesn't give him a pass to shag whoever he wants during their marriage. And so he's marching around this ring shop like Attila the Hun. Guys, this was just so embarrassing, it was unreal. He walked into the ring shop and he said, hi, what's your name? To the ring guy, as Sophie called him. I love that name, the ring guy. And Rob said, show me the very cheapest ring you've got. And he said it big and loud. Sophie was mortified. Guys, I was embarrassed and I wasn't even bloody there.
No, I've got some nice ones like this. Something like this. We gotta do 1,000.
Nah, ain't no way. Too expensive.
Too expensive?
Too expensive by about $800.
Wait, what did he say? Too expensive by $800? So he's looking to spend $200? Oh dear, he needs to go and look at the jewellery in Walmart. In the end, they pumped for 2 rings, which were less than $500 together. I've got to say, they probably shouldn't have gone ring shopping on this day. It was the least romantic thing I've ever seen. And that's notwithstanding the fact that Rob's a skin-toss. Just his general demeanour ruined the day. But just as they were leaving, Rob did say to Sophie, I'm going to come back one day and I'm going to get you that ring. Which one, Rob? I can't see the one you're pointing to. That one? That's $50. Guys, it wouldn't surprise me. And then the guy in the shop very generously gave the couple a glass of champagne each, thereby wiping out the entirety of his profit on that sale. Anyway, next time we see these guys, they are of course in the midst of yet another argument. What is it now, I hear you ask? Well, it's Sophie. She just never stops wanting.
I didn't sleep well, we should get a duvet. We need a duvet because we don't even have like a quilt.
And this statement right here, a simple $20 request, turns into the argument of the century. And Rob's stomping around in an awful mood, and he said to Sophie, the first thing I hear when I wake up in the morning is negativity. And Sophie said, it's not negativity, I want to be comfortable, I'm living here with you, and I think having a duvet would make me more comfortable. It's not a massive request. And I can attest to that, guys, it's not a massive request. It's a $20 or $30 item, that's all. But for once Rob was quite straight with production, and he admitted what the actual problem was. And first up he said, I didn't even know what a duvet was. And I guess that could be seen to be a problem, because maybe he thought this duvet item was super expensive. But he said the real problem was that when he woke up, Sophie was saying, buy me something. And he said to her, you always want something. But guys, I think it's very possibly a bit more than this. He also knows that, in general, Sophie's dissatisfied with the way that the couple are living. And he also knows that he's massively underperforming. He doesn't have a job and he doesn't have any money whatsoever. And I think he just never ever wants to be reminded of this. So as soon as Sophie says, oh, let's go and buy this or let's go there, it reminds him that he's a million miles away from doing any of the things that she would normally do. Now, for most people, I think it would trigger a bit of get up and go in them. You know, it's the kind of thing that might make you want to get a job, want to make some money, or become gainfully employed. But not Rob. Rob's answer to it all is, every time Sophie asks for something, to call her spoilt, entitled, a brat, and to be so awkward and moody that she never ever asks for anything again. And I think that's his grand plan. Not to provide for her, but to prevent her from asking for anything ever again. And Rob comes back with the same old lie, which incidentally, glancing over the comments in my comments section, a lot of you are still buying.
2 people and a pit bull should not live in a studio with not even an actual kitchen or a living room or in anything, in one room.
Okay, Mrs. Yeah, my family helps me out. Yeah,
where's the money my family's helping me with?
Exactly.
I don't ask my family for money. If I did, we
so
wouldn't live
you
here.
hella bougie for somebody who don't got.
So you see, yet again, he calls her Mrs. Bougie, and he says your family give you money for everything. And she points out yet again, I don't ask my family for money. Her family haven't given her money since she was 16, and she's been living independently since then. And she points out, if my family gave me money, we wouldn't be living here. So why does Rob like this lie so much? Well, this is what I think. It insinuates that anything that Sophie's achieved for herself, like the lovely apartment she had back in the UK, was done only because of her parents, and if she were left to her own devices, she wouldn't have anything. And ergo, it helps him to seem like less of a loser. When you pretend that other people's achievements are because of somebody else, you manage to detract from their own hard work. And you manage to make it seem to the wider audience that they're somewhat out of order for asking you for things which they can't provide for themselves. Sophie has proved that she can provide a decent, normal standard of living for herself. But Rob seeks to deny this, and he wants to drag all the viewers along with him. And Sophie stormed out, and Rob followed her. And then he said, next time you ask me something, give me at least an hour in the morning before you ask. Anyway, each one of the couple thinks that they're right, but in the end, Rob kept shouting at Sophie and saying, I want you to apologise, you must apologise. Guys, I don't know what she's really apologising for. It can only be either for wanting a duvet or asking him for a duvet. I don't know what else it could be, or I guess the third thing would be asking him within an hour of him waking for a duvet, but that's a brand new rule. Guys, she couldn't be expected to know that rule. But then, guys, Sophie went on a bit of a weird tangent. She said she's sacrificed so much to be here with Rob. And guys, it kind of irritates me when people say they've sacrificed, to move country. It's what you wanted to do. Nobody has to move anywhere or do anything. You chose to do it. I don't think moving out of rainy London to sunny California is a massive sacrifice. You're not going to be living in that dog kennel for long. The way I hear it, the dog wants you both out anyway. He reckons there's not enough room for 3. So anyway, this whole sacrifice thing is ridiculous. But then she starts talking about yet another sacrifice that she's benevolently made, all for Rob.
It's very, very annoying. It's like if we were making sacrifices to each other, I'd feel a lot better. But I've moved here for him, and now the sexuality thing is a big thing. I'm sacrificing so I can be with Rob. I don't know how many more things I have to sacrifice before I'm like, I'm not sacrificing anymore. I'm not going to be with someone who's not going to give me the same back.
Wait, what? You're sacrificing your sexuality to be with Rob, are you? That's very interesting, but you can't really put that on him because he only knew 20 minutes ago. I'll admit, you've sacrificed to come to a place that's, well, not that nice, but it's not that much of a sacrifice because really, once you get your green card and you both start earning, you'll be out of there with the click of a finger. So it's kind of like a 6-month sacrifice at most. Yes, you've moved away from your friends and family, but you chose to do it. You didn't have to. Let's look at it this way. If you decided not to go out with Rob anymore because you wanted to stay with your friends and family in the UK, would you say to them, I've sacrificed the love of my life to stay with you guys? No, you wouldn't, because you couldn't, because it's just a decision that you make. Every day we make thousands and thousands of decisions, big ones, small ones, and most of them, 90% of them, benefit us. So Sophie, come the fuck on. And so they argue back and forth about who should apologise, and finally, Sophie gives an apology of the Sozza variety. She said, I'm so sorry for asking for a duvet. And guys, Rob was apoplectic with rage. He said, right, next time I have to apologise, I'll remember that apology and I'll do it in the same style. No, you won't, Rob. You've never ever fucking apologised yet. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I forgot the fake apology for cheating on her with other women. Other than that, you've never apologised. And so the next time we see this couple, they're going to a Santa Monica brewery to sort out their problems. I always find getting absolutely pissed sorts out every problem I have and gives me a whole host more. And so the couple sit down and the barman brings over 1 drink for Sophie and 2 for Rob. Rob lets Sophie know that Americans call that double fisting. She laughed a very knowing laugh. I'm pretty sure double fisting means the same in America as it does in England. If it doesn't, look it up on yeah, that's right, Pornhub. Double fisting, guys, it had me dead. They talk over their problems and their constant bickering. And Sophie thinks the solution is to have a date night at least every 2 weeks. I think the way to stop you two arguing is to split up, but I digress. Rob agrees and they have quite a nice evening for once. So the final time we see the couple for this week, they're on a trip and they've decided to go to a sex shop. And Sophie tells production they've only had sex once in 2 weeks. And as they look around at the various toys and whips and so on, the shop assistant decides to make Rob an offer that, well, he really doesn't want to refuse.
So you know that you guys are both really hot.
Oh, thank you. So are you.
You know, if you're trying new things.
Ain't my world. You answer that
No,
question.
you answer it.
It's definitely not my question to answer.
But Sophie refuses to answer and she decides to make Rob answer. Rob's wise to her game and he says, no way, I need you to answer. And then Sophie popped off. She said, why would you want to have sex with someone who isn't me? And then she said, Rob, you should have said no. We're not even married yet and you want to shag other people.
I'm thinking about other
Because you
people.
didn't answer the question. You just said, no, I'm about to get married. Why would I do that?
All right, you work it out. I don't
You
know how.
didn't answer the question she asked you.
I don't know
Look at
how
me.
I said something wrong. All
You know,
I said,
you were supposed to
all
say
I said
no
was,
because you
you
know
need
my
to
situation. You know I wouldn't let you have sex with anyone else, Rob.
Oh dear, what was Rob supposed to say? He said to Sophie, it's up to you. And so she said no and he accepted it. I think that's fair enough. He knows where she stands on that issue. But instead, she kind of forced him to answer, and even though he didn't, because he didn't answer, no, definitely not, she's now very unhappy with him. And I have to say, I think this is slightly different from what happened before. This is not something which excludes Sophie. He's not doing something behind her back. If this were to happen, it would be something that they'd all agreed on. All you need to do, Sophie, is just to let him know this is not what I want for our relationship. And for once, I actually agree with Rob. He let her take the lead, and the decision was hers. What more could he do? This is, as I see it, uncharted territory for their relationship, and as such, all she needed to do was to state what she wanted. And she told production if I'd have said yes, he would have agreed to it, and that's absolutely gross. Well, Sophie, you don't know what would have happened. It might have been that he was only sleeping with you, but you were able to sleep with the woman. Maybe that would have been the agreement. You really don't know because you didn't discuss it in any meaningful way. And I'm not going to go as far as to say I feel sorry for Rob, because of course it's already been long established that he's a knob. But in just this situation, I don't know what else he was supposed to do.
And you cannot blame it on me. You cannot blame me for saying this isn't a question for me. That is not me creating drama. You getting mad at me for stepping away from the question, that is all you.
And then Sophie asked him to apologise for wanting to sleep with somebody else that wasn't her. And Rob apologised for upsetting her, but he said, I'm not going to apologise for wanting to sleep with somebody else because I never said one way or the other, and I find that to be true. For all you know, he could have been the voyeur. There are a million different ways that threesomes can go. And given that you've never spoken about it and you didn't discuss it at this point, how do you know what was in Rob's mind? After all, you have just told him you were bi and that you're interested in having sex with women, so I guess it's not ridiculous for him to think he doesn't know where you might stand on this particular issue. And he finished up by saying, you'd like me to apologise for wanting to have sex with another woman, and that's not what I said, it's not what was said, and so why should I apologise for something that never happened? And that's where we leave things for this week. Oh guys, what's going to become of these two? I simply don't see it working. I think that Rob would like a more open relationship, not just based on what's happened here, but just based on his previous behaviour. And I think Sophie wants Rob all to herself. But I do think that she's thrown the cat amongst the pigeons when she let him know that she was bi, and that at some point in the future she may want to explore things with other women. Given that marriage is supposed to be for life, you can't really blame Rob for thinking, well, when is this going to come to fruition? When is she going to want to explore the other side of her sexuality? I think these two would benefit from maybe seeing a counsellor to talk through all of these issues before any marriage happens. But I'd love to know what you think. Do you think that Rob was in the wrong in the sex shop? I kind of don't, but I see where she's coming from. She's made it clear she doesn't want him sleeping with other people, but that wasn't implicitly what was said here, so there is very much of a grey area, I think. And also, what do you think of Juvegate? Is Rob just stressed out because he has no money, and every time Sophie says, I want something, he knows good and well he's unable to provide it? Or should I say, unwilling to provide it? So yes, guys, let me know what you think in comments down below. And I'm going to go away and gargle some lemon and salt water. Guys, hopefully I'll have another video out to you before Christmas. If not, have a wonderful Christmas. And I hope that Santa brings you all you dreamed of. Thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
I stand fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of bird.